Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome to a special online event today called Four Powers of Intuition for Sensitives and Empaths. Discover your gifts of perception through your chakras. My name is Stephen Dinan. I'm the founder and president of the Shift Network, and I'm really delighted to be here with you. And a remarkable intuitive healer and teacher of empaths and clairvoyance. Her name is Wendy Rosa, and she's really been one of the great blessings of starting the Shift Network. We get to discover and get to know and learn from these amazing new teachers. She offers training programs for spiritual and personal growth, particularly for people who want to develop their intuition, clear blocks, and embody healthy empathy and sensitivity. And she's developed a worldwide base around this and some remarkable training programs that she's already offered through Shift. So we're really delighted to be with you here today, Wendy.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, Stephen.
Well, I know we're going to have this hour together, and we're also going to have a chance for people to go much deeper in a full 7-week program coming up. We'll share a little bit more about that towards the end of the hour, but we're going to get as much value as we can. And before we get into the content, though, I always find it's useful to have a bit of back story about why somebody's teaching what they're teaching, because it just provides a little bit of human context. And so, Wendy, I'd love for you to hear a little bit about what is it that really led you onto this path of committing your career and training to working with intuition and sensitives and empaths?
So what brought me into this work came out of a series of nervous breakdowns due to being energetically sensitive, to being overwhelmed on an energetic level. And later in life, what I came to understand was that I had all four aspects of intuition at a very young age. I just had no idea and didn't know how to work with it and didn't have the container or the parenting or the awareness of how to work with intuition in the body. So I was raised in a big Italian Catholic family, and I was the oldest girl of eight kids, and I had a lot of responsibility, and I was innately, there was a healer in me that just knew how to caretake everyone. But to a child, as I was developing, it turned into anxiety. It turned into incredible amounts of energetic overwhelm. By the time I was 19, I had a big nervous breakdown, and that set me on the path to start to understand more about me and what was happening, which led me into finding a teacher and learning about my intuitive abilities. And I trained with a teacher. I absorbed everywhere, books and information about the chakras. And I was an avid yogi and yoga philosophy. And that led me into, by the time I was 30, I had over 500 clients. I was working with people and observing their energy systems and what was going on for people beneath their issues and guiding them into healing and clearing the blocks. And people had interest in wanting to learn this work and how I did this, and they could see in themselves that there was a call to it, or they were also intuitive. And out of that, I developed a training program, and I wrote a few books and have been supporting people in developing their intuition and understanding what's happening on the energetic level in the body. And so a few books later, and countless thousands of people working with, and also working with the Shift Network has led me to this point.
Great. Well, it's a beautiful example of turning the wound into the gift, or discovering the blessing in the original challenge too. And so I think that's probably resonant with a lot of the folks who are joining here today, which is so often intuition and sensitivity is experienced as a burden rather than a blessing. And so I'd love for you to talk about some of those first ways that to begin to turn that feeling around, so that you can actually really start to manifest it as the gifts of perception.
Yeah. So I partly, and there's a couple ways to address this. First, I think it's important to understand about what intuition really is. Typically, when we're asked the question, "What is intuition?" It's often referred to as the voice inside, or that deep inner sense of knowing in the body. And that is true for many people. But intuition is actually more complex in the energy system than just a voice or just the knowing. So intuition, from the full bodied perspective in the body, there's a seeing, there's a feeling, there's a hearing, and there's a knowing in the energy system, which relates to different power centers in the body. And that's what we're going to be talking about. But for people who don't know, what type of intuitive you are you a seer? Are you a feeler? Are you a knower? Do you hear? Do you receive downloads of information? And on top of that, do you have more than one of those, and maybe more than two of those, maybe all four of those going on in your energy system? And it's important to understand why and where they relate to in the actual energetic anatomy, because the result when we don't is incredible overwhelm and confusion about, what not only what is this information, but what do I do with this information that I'm receiving or I'm feeling in the world. And what's interesting about empath is that empathic people are often experience the world through their felt sense. So they're taking in information on the feeling level in the body. But empaths also may experience other aspects of intuition in their body. They may also hear, and they may have vivid dreams, and they might have other active power centers in the body. So empaths are more than just empaths. They actually have other aspects of intuition going on as well. And I think it's incredible. I think it's vital. It's vital and incredibly important for people to understand what's happening in the energy body as it relates to all four aspects and powers of intuition and how they relate to the chakras.
Well, let's go dive into that. I think it's really intriguing, these four different intuitive abilities, if you will, or powers of intuition and how they relate to the chakras. Let's dive in.
Yes, absolutely. So in the energetic system, I'm a big fan of working from the ground up in the body. And that means that we have our grounding cord from our hip to the center of the earth. And we have our lower chakras in our body. So we have our first at our tailbone, our second's in our pelvis. The third is between the navel and the diaphragm. The fourth is in the chest area. The fifth is in the throat area. The sixth is at the third eye, and the crown chakra is the seventh. And these lower power centers in the body are our power centers that perceive information through the felt sense, particularly the second and third chakras of the body. They are the empathic power centers. So for an empath who feels like information might be coming higher up in the body, that's actually another aspect of intuition. It's not necessarily empathic intuition. Empathic intuition is also called clairsentient intuition. It's the sentient or felt experience of energy on an emotional level, and often the subcurrent. So the current of what's going on the planet, what's going on, what people aren't speaking, but they're transmitting on an energetic level. It's what we feel might be going on beneath the surface for ourselves or for an individual. Typically it's for others. And what happens here in this area of the body is that when we don't know that this is the area of the body that's operating from that empathic or clairsentient sense, we can not inhabit that area of the body. We cannot be in the power of that area of the body, because that area of the body is operating on default. It's operating on conditioning from childhood that my role or my job in this world is to live higher up in my body and meet other people's needs and expectations, but not really have a sense of myself. Or even, I don't even know how to be in my body or feel empowered in my body because nobody showed me, or I didn't get the experience or the teachings around that. And so what'll happen with empathic intuition and clairsentient intuition is that we will feel what's going on in these lower chakras of the body, but we will also absorb what, from the world around us until we start shifting the patterning in that area of the body and start to find more center and connection in the lower chakras, specifically the second and third chakras. And then we have claircognizance. Claircognizance is the knowing sense in the body. Claircognizance relates to the backside of the energy system. So it's when we are in connection with the divine and through a pillar of light or a shower of grace into the backside of our body to where we get those hits or we get the knowing sense. And people who are claircognizant, that's how they'll describe it. I don't know how I know. I just know I know. It's a knowing sense. And sometimes that knowing sense can relate to the third and fourth chakras, in that some people will get that knowing in their gut or the knowing in the heart. Claircognizance can also relate to our heart callings, that knowing that this is what I'm meant to do, this is what I'm called to do. And that's an activation of grace flowing into the back body and animating our spirit in a split second. It happens quickly. The downloads can happen very quickly, or the knowing can come very strong in a strong way, and it can come quickly. So that's the claircognizant sense. The throat chakra relates to the clairaudient sense. And what's interesting is in clairaudience, it's not about the front side of the throat chakra. That's how we communicate and express our truth. But clairaudience relates to the backside of the throat chakra. And that's where we deeply listen to the divine messages that might be coming from our inner self, it's our higher self or our inner child, or they might be coming from the divine realm, that experience of downloading information. So people who are teachers or facilitators or musicians or might be in a role of presenting. And when you get into the zone, that creative genius zone or that zone of expression and the information's flowing, that's clairaudience. That's an aspect of clairaudience, being able to receive messages. And then the sixth chakra here in the third eye center, also related to the back of the head, the front and back side, relates to clairvoyance. And clairvoyance is the ability to perceive pictures and images and have a higher knowing, so a higher perception about what might be going on, for yourself or for others. And some people who are clairvoyant will also process in their dreams. They might not necessarily process emotionally in the moment. They might later at night process through their dreams, something that might have, been emotional or something that might have affected them. So this aspect of seeing relates to specifically pictures and images and having that, and otherwise known as that psychic sense. But it's also people who are high visionaries, people who see the big picture. Maybe they run a team or run a corporation or they're leaders on some level. They have a high visionary sense. Now, they may not refer to themselves as clairvoyant, but that high visionary sense is an aspect of clairvoyance. So those are the four aspects of intuition and how they relate to the power centers.
That's a great overview, and it really makes a lot of sense how they map on there. And one of the things that you allude to a few times there that seems significant in your work, and is this whole activation of both the front and the back, if you will. That the back side of the chakras is really key to the right functioning of these different intuitive abilities. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. I mean, the front body is where we default to in the world, and that's actually where we stay in ego consciousness. By ego consciousness, I mean that part of us that has our conditioning, but the part of us that also has to show up in the world. And ego gets a bad rap, it's considered negative, but the ego has two parts to it. There's the wounded ego, and the wounded ego is the aspect of us that has fears and has belief systems and conditioning that might limit our full intuitive self and our expression in the world. And the healthy ego is the part of us that manifests our true self into the world. So we do need that healthy ego, and the front body relates to both of those aspects of our ego. The back body is where we lean into spirit. It's where we lean into higher self, higher knowing, and our intuitive sense comes from connection through the backside of the body. That backside fuels the power centers, the chakras, and gives them strength and gives them grace and animates the power of the power center, which ultimately informs our intuitive body.
Well, fascinating insights. That was really illuminating about the front and back body, and really brings that three-dimensional aspect alive. So often we think of chakras in a kind of more of a two-dimensional way. Another thing I was just curious about is how, I was thinking in our culture, so people say, trust your gut, or trust your heart, but they don't try to say, trust your third eye, so we've got culturally, like oftentimes we get conditioned that certain kinds of intuitions are more acceptable or proper and other ones are not, and that might bias us some towards one or the other.
It's so true. It's interesting. It's a great point. And there is it's culturally, I think, that sense of trusting your gut or trusting your heart are more well known, and it's true. There's for some people get the gut feelings. I'm somebody who might feel it more in my heart than I would feel it in my gut. But either of those locations are places where our soul communicates to us through the heart. It communicates to us through our missions and oftentimes our callings in the world. From our gut, it's our physical response. It's the innate instinctual response in the body. And people who might be more kind of lower body intuitives, like meaning clairsentient and claircognizant, they may find that in their system, they process energy physically. They might need to move their bodies more. They may need to, before meditating, for example, they need to get up and move and, kind of process their energy and then come back and sit down and come into stillness. Or if they are processing something emotionally, sometimes it's not about emoting and crying, letting the emotion flow. Sometimes it's actually the body has a sensation. And that sensation is a way that the intuition in the physical body is informing us that there is energy that's moving here, or there's information that's processed here. But in the third eye area of the body, one of the ways that I think can be very helpful is being able to visualize, see the goal, see the picture, see what might be coming through, and not everyone sees so readily, and that's not a problem. It's just when we exercise that area of the body and practice the visualizations, sometimes, most of the time, the pictures start to present, or it's not always coming in pictures, but it's coming in a higher knowing. For clairaudient people, having a journal and a pen with you at various times, or getting into the habit of writing and getting things out onto paper is going to be vital for the health of someone who's clairaudient, because when we block the flow by not speaking it or not letting it flow through, it ends up clogging the throat chakra, and we develop throat chakra issues or throat issues, or we suppress part of ourself and essentially our voice. We lose our will in our throat chakra. So it's important that we do understand all aspects of the intuition and how to normalize them in life, because they are innate aspects of our being. It's just in society, intuition's been a bit under the table for a long time. And it's also been above the table for a while now. So now we're starting to understand a little bit more about about intuition being a normal aspect of our existence. But knowing these 4 ways they work in the body can certainly help in normalizing it for anyone in their life.
Mm-hmm. Great explanation. And I was just kind of grinning, thinking about how, the word intuition is kind of, oh, that's like new age or something, but like trusting your gut, like these manly cowboys and, football jocks, that they'll trust their gut. But it's just like, it's really just, it's a different way to label the information that's coming in, but it's ultimately, it's still a deeper source than our rational mind. So how valuable is it to put time on some of the weaker areas? So let's say that I probably am stronger on the clairvoyant side, and but maybe clairsentient is underdeveloped in certain ways. So do you find it's useful for people to really kind of balance their system out, or kind of work with the areas where they're not as developed?
It certainly can be. And I'm actually, I'll answer this in the reverse. Let's say somebody is very empathic, and they're feeling a lot of energy through their lower body, and the result of that is overabsorption. And maybe that overabsorption results in some physical conditions, digestive issues. Maybe it results in difficulty in holding boundaries within relationships. So just some examples. So yet the empathic or the clairsentient person is very intuitive. Well, when we start to practice the upper chakra intuition in place of relying fully on the lower chakras, then we do start to balance in the energy system the difference between reading energy. It's much clearer for an empathic person to be able to receive information on that clairvoyant sense without the emotional merging that can happen in the lower chakras. And at the same time, it's not shutting down that clairsentient sense. It's just asking, it's inviting the prana, the life force energy in the body, to redirect. So it moves from being stuck in the lower system to being activated here. And that starts to allow us to see and perceive more objectively, and perhaps even get clearer answers or responses to what we're experiencing. On the flip side, if it's the other way around, where it's high visionary and maybe the empathic sense, that felt sense, isn't fully there, or it's not as developed, we'll say, then it's possible that the upper chakras in the body, there can be a lot of energy going on in the third eye area. So that can be a lot of ideas and a lot of racing visions, and even moving faster and processing faster than other people around us, because the empathic part in our body, the clairsentient empathic, invites us to slow down. It invites us to connect on that empathy and emotional, kind of tuned in relationship level. So what's interesting is that when we start to ground the excess energy in the upper body into the lower body, it invites us to slow down the process and connect to, connect to the people around us, or to connect to the world around us, and feel into how our ideas and our visionary senses are actually manifesting. into the world. So those are some ways those two can work together.
Yeah, I can really see the complementarity there. That's great. Well, I know you had a practice that you were wanting to guide us in to connect with all four of these different intuitive centers. And so I'd love to take some time now for you to guide us in that practice.
Yes, absolutely. So let's go ahead and close our eyes wherever you are. Go ahead and take some deep breaths and close your eyes. And let your body ground by envisioning a beautiful grounding cord, which is a beam of light or a tree trunk that's nice and secure around your hips and your sit bones and your lower body. And it extends down deep into the earth. And your root chakra is the foundation for your entire intuitive system. When we are grounded, when we slow down and connect through the power of trust in this area of the body, the root chakra, and all the energy higher up in our body starts to ground down. And we come into balance. And then breathe into a beautiful shower of light. And the shower of light flows down through the crown of your head, through your central channel, which goes from the crown of your head to your tailbone. And we're going to emphasize the backside of that shower of light. You're leaning back into the shower of light and it's washing off anything that doesn't serve you. And it's opening up awareness back here. Good. And as that backside is opening up, we're going to invite that backside to flow into the backside of your second and third chakras. So the light coming into the backside of those two chakras. Second is in your pelvis, third is between your navel and your diaphragm. And you're going to breathe love into self here. These are the empathic power centers, and what's vital for the empath or the clairsentient power in the body is that we feel self. Otherwise, this area of the body gets conditioned to prioritize others' energies, caretake them. Just let this light come into your back side of your sacrum and your third chakra to fuel your sense of self. Imagine taking a big step in to the center of those chakras and just push out through the front of your belly and the front of your pelvis anyone else's energy you've been housing, holding, and it may not serve you. Let that energy release. And then through the backside of the solar plexus and the back of the heart, allow that grace light to flow through. And that sense of presence in the low body and center in the solar plexus, the third chakra, and connection to the heart invites us to feel our claircognizance, our sense of knowing. The sense of knowing comes from the sense of self. feeling yourself, knowing yourself. And as light comes down, as it's flowing, it flows into the back of the throat, increasing that awareness of listening, intuitively listening, your higher messages, soul's voice in the divine realm. Inviting that opening to clairaudient. And that light continues to flow here, inviting grace connect to the back of the sixth chakra, the third eye area, in the brow and the back of your head. And the backside opens up to the higher awareness, higher perception, the realm of possibility, that anything is possible, everything is possible. Optimism, it's high visionary. And that the clairvoyant sense here allows us to see the possibility, the realm of possibility through pictures and images. And this light migrates from your back body into the center channel of your body. And that presence of grace coming in to support your power centers informs how you are in the world through your front body. We'll allow this beautiful central channel to illuminate, inviting you to embody your power centers and therefore your power of intuition. We'll allow grace to flow through the crown of your head, nourishing these areas of your body, and that light illuminates beyond your skin, your physical skin, out into your auric field. It brightens the light all the way around your body. Give thanks for this opportunity to be of service here in the highest way that I may be. I pray that our energies are grounded into our own bodies. And I pray that you walk from the love and the light of who you are, and that you may be guided by your own true heart every step of the way. And thank you.
Thank you for that. That felt really clarifying and opening. And there's something about just bringing presence to the back part of the chakras. It's not something I typically do. I think my energy tends to run towards making things happen in the world and moving things forward. And so it does. I can feel like this openness and receptivity. It's nice because it's like otherwise if you don't have that receptive energy back there, then you're a little more of a closed loop.
Absolutely. And there's source that comes in, there's information that comes in, there's downloads, even the bigger mission comes in through the back body. And so that ability to be able to receive that gives us source and vital energy for the front body mission in the world, for manifesting that in the world.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Is that something that people should do as a daily practice then to kind of help cultivate the more balanced flow of their intuitive ability?
Yes, absolutely. And that back body connection is a game changer for people, to be able to have the awareness that the back of our chakras need to be sourced by divinity and by spirit and by divine flow changes how we feel and find center in the world. And I encourage it for anyone who's a caregiver or teacher or, a partner. Just being able to source self in this way is an aspect of self-love.
Beautiful. So let's talk a little bit more about just the ways that which of these different intuitive abilities are more natural for us and how we can build on that to really empower ourselves.
Yeah, so the all aspects of the intuitive body are natural for different people. So people will come into this world with very strong prana in particular power centers. When I say prana, I mean life force energy. So you, anyone may come into the world, for example, with a very strong throat chakra, and that throat chakra has the ability to connect to higher knowing and be able to facilitate messages and speak and influence influence people, or in the world, be an influencer, be a teacher, a leader. So those people who come into this world with strong aspects of intuition, it's interesting, they may come into the world that way, but oftentimes our strongest power centers often can be our most vulnerable power centers, or be power centers where we need to work through the karma or the energy blockages that are held in that area, so that the natural ability of intuition can flow. I mean, even for anyone who went through that guided meditation and said, well, I really can't see, or wow, I really feel blocked. When Wendy went to this area, I noticed I couldn't connect there. It's good information, and to know that everyone is going to have some aspect in their energy body that does need to be cleared, some energy blockage in the body that needs to be cleared in order for your natural power to come out and to be embodied, so that we're living this work in the world. With intuition nowadays, it's not about removing yourself from society and moving into an ascetic life, and in needing to not engage in the world, not be able to be intuitive in the world. And for some it might be, everyone has their own path, but part of really being empowered as an intuitive is understanding how life force energy and prana moves through power centers in the body that open up natural ways that our system is here to live and to be. So, and I'll give you one more example of this, is that someone who comes into this world with strong clairsentience might actually be an inborn healer. Now, they may not know that. Certainly at a young age, they don't know that, because the experience for someone who doesn't know that becomes the experience is that their energy body starts to become a caretaker. They'll caretake energy, at the expense of not knowing how to be a healer with the energy. So part of the work in this case is, how do I understand what's going on? How do I understand my gift? What's going on in my lower power centers that awakens my natural gift and ability of being able to be present with someone in what they're going through, so that I can radiate my sense of presence or radiate divine healing, as opposed to withdrawing and absorbing the energy from the other person. Healing's not, let me take that person's energy into my body. That's not what the healer really is. So this is about expanding and creating presence in the body, and this informs how we are in our power as a clairsentient intuitive.
One of the things that you've shared in the past that I found really useful is also around this occupying your lower chakras, and that kind of prevents you from pulling energy in. I would love you to share a little bit about that, just because it seems relevant here.
Yeah. So many people, through our upbringing, have been unfortunately parented out of our lower chakras, and then this is not at all to blame parents or wrong parents. This is just how society, this was the collective. This was how we in generations have been taught to be in ourselves. The lower chakras relate to our tribe, our family of origin, the belief systems that marinated in the tribe, the validation of self. So whether or not I was given expectations to live according to, or whether I was seen as a child, as or an adult, young adult, And that these areas of the body, what happens in the energy system is that the root chakra, if we don't feel a sense of self, a sense of belonging, a sense of being in ourselves, the root chakra contracts, it closes down, and that makes the second and third chakras overly exposed. It makes them open and makes it very difficult to trust self because there isn't enough vital earth energy going through the root. And it makes it difficult to hold energy boundaries because the second and third chakras have overexposed as a result of not being able to ground through the lower body. So these lower power centers are incredibly important in the energy system, in that once we ground down and we can connect to the power of the root, the power of the second, and the power of the third, we're able to radiate more sense of presence. And that radiance in the lower body also allows us to ground the upper chakra energy and the upper chakra intuition. Otherwise we're, closed down in the root, blown open in the middle chakras, the second and third. The heart starts racing. The throat sometimes is uncontrollable or speaking without listening, and the mind can really race. So, yes, these are ways that we can stay very grounded. So
if you're experiencing things like your heart racing or feeling kind of anxious or your mind racing, chances are some of these that's like a deeper diagnosis of the patterns underneath, is what I'm hearing. Absolutely, and a disconnection from our intuition. Yeah, we can't be intuitive if there's a lot of noise going on in the body. Because there's so much, there's blockage in the system. And so, part of the work here, and we'll be going into this shortly, but part of the work here is that we do understand what we're holding in our energy body on a karmic level, on a block level, what the energy imprints we're holding that might prevent us from being in the power with our intuition in these chakras. I know we don't have a lot of time today, but I'm curious if you can share some sneak previews of ways that you can work with some of those imprints that are held. It could be old traumas, old imprints, that you can start to release some of the old energies that might be cluttering up the system as well. So grounding cord is first and foremost. Always, always. We think sometimes spiritual growth and intuitive development is about going higher and higher into different dimensions. It's actually going deeper. It's about going deeper and deeper into the central channel of the body. And when we have energetic blocks in our system, and everybody does, so there's nothing wrong with you if you know that there are. This is part of existence and our evolutionary path. But the process of it is bringing awareness to where we're holding that energy in the body. And our intuition plays a role in that we can tune in and simply ask the energy, what is this? What am I holding in my body? Is there a feeling? Is there a color? Is there a shape? Is there a sense about it or what information do I need to know about it? And then deeply listen, or receive, get that felt sense of what the response is to that energy. And then the question may be, do I need this anymore? And then inviting yourself to, if the answer is no, then to release it. Invite yourself to release that energy down through your grounding cord. There's lots of different techniques on how to clear energy, but this is just a basic practice. It's just to let that energy go down through your grounding cord and send it to the earth where it can be transformed as pure, clear, clean light, and let it release from the body. So this is just a small practice. It's pretty involved in how to clear energy, but this is a basic practice that can be helpful. It's clear
Yeah.
you have a whole cornucopia of practices and insights, and I just find it fascinating to listen to you, because it really opens up a whole new world of understanding of our intuition, our energy systems, how we can get clear and grounded and open and really be powerful channels without getting stuck in a lot of the other dynamics. So I think this is a great moment to talk more explicitly about your upcoming program, which we mentioned earlier. And first of all, I'll say we're really excited for this. We've had some huge programs that have had big impacts on a lot of lives already at Shift with you. And so we're really excited to develop this new program to take us still further. And it's called Expanding Your Powers of Intuition. Develop your gifts of perception through your chakras for sensitives and empaths. So you can find it at powersofintuition.com. Again, that's powersofintuition.com. It's going to be a 7-week program, and in many ways it builds on some of the core concepts that Wendy has been sharing here today, and really accessing these different intuitive abilities, being able to clear and balance your front and back body, to work with the different chakras, to clear out old energies and patterns, so that you can really live with a deeper level of self-awareness and awareness into your own inner world, but also that creates a space for more access and awareness of the energies of other people and the world around you without getting sticky or getting stuck or corded too much, so that you're really able to stay in your own integrity and be a real valuable contribution with this intuitive information you have access to. So again, you can find the course laid out in detail at powersofintuition.com. And Wendy, I'd love for you to share in your own words what this program is all about and what people receive, and maybe what's a bit different about it from other programs you've taught, and then give a tour of the modules.
Absolutely. So I'd like to just start with what's different about it from past programs that I've taught. There's been a very big movement of an awareness, an opening about empathic intuition and what it means to be an empath, and related to that is being sensitive, having a sensitivity. And everybody is sensitive on some level. We're born with sensitivities. And what will happen is that we'll be conditioned out of those sensitivities, through our life experiences, and often our teachings that we might receive, which is, parenting and conditioning throughout our life. So what'll happen is that in the energy body is that we empaths and sensitive people may have an experience of confusion, or experience of even more like curiosity in terms of what is this that's going on? What's happening in my body, or what's happening in this experience that I'm witnessing? And what in this program, what's different? I've done empath trainings through the Shift Network. What's different here is that this program contains more practical tools and practices. We're moving into some practices on how to be in these aspects of your intuition, and how to train these areas of your body to connect to clairvoyance, clairaudience, claircognizance, clairsentience. There is healing. We will do energy healing in the modules as well. So we'll be doing guided healing to help clear any blocks that might be in the way. But also it's healing, but it's also an aspect of parenting this consciousness in the body. So parenting areas of your energy system that just may not have known how to connect to these power centers and to these aspects of intuition. At the same time, the program is also going to support people who do feel that your intuition is flowing, and it's flowing in all these different ways in the body. It will help give you an orientation to your own physical body, so that when you're out there in the world and you're reading energy or you're perceiving what's going on, you can actually tune in to particular areas of your energy body to get information and to feel information. And so all around this program is about supporting the healthy intuitive. We're not just intuitives from the heart upward. We're working with the whole energy body in how our whole system intuits information and how to practically work with that. So that's a big premise of the program. Module 1 is on empathic intuition and grounding yourself as an intuitive. So empaths are here to help us heal on a collective level. They are here to teach us about our emotions, and they're here to do that by learning in themselves how to have self and center, and how to process their own wounds or their own emotions so that they're not as absorbent. And they're here to teach empathy, and we're here to heal in many ways through empathy. So there's a lot of information in Module 1 about power of the empath and why we're here, and what it means to ground into the self for the empath. Module 2 is beyond empathic intuition. So we're going to the next level of what the all 4 powers of intuition are. We talked about them here, but we'll dive deeper into that. Module 3 is the power of claircognizance. That's the knowing sense. It's accessing your inner teacher for trust and faith. So that we'll go into this, but trust and faith correspond to various areas of the energy system. So we'll talk about that, especially if you're someone who says, well, I get these intuitive hits. How do I trust them? We'll cover that in this module. Module 4 is clairaudience. It's listening intuitively and freeing your voice. This is very important for people who may be empathic. Empaths often will have throat chakra stuff going on. So it's very possible that the throat chakra might need to be unblocked in order for the sensitive or the intuitive to feel their full expression, but also to hear those messages. So we'll go more into that in Module 4. Module 5 is clairvoyance, developing your psychic and visionary perception. So it's working with the visionary sense of the third eye and the higher knowing, the higher awareness and perception, which also relates to optimism and the realm of possibility. So we'll be working with the 6th chakra and the crown chakra a bit more in Module 5. Module 6 is reading energy intuitively without taking it on. So I'll give you some tools on how to read energy in an energy system, and how to support yourself in not absorbing the energy. And then Module 7 is embracing the full range of your intuitive powers. So this is how are you living in the world as an embodied being, an embodied intuitive, unapologetically. It's okay to say I'm intuitive, and to really have a clear sense in your own body of your power centers and which aspects of your intuition work for your body, and how to work with that in the world, or be that in the world. So those are the 7 modules, and I'm very excited about this program. It's really inviting you to understand deeper intuition in the body and understand how they relate to the chakras in the body, and it changes everything about what you know, or what's been informed about intuition. So it's very powerful. I'm excited for this program.
Awesome. The curriculum looks fantastic, and I love how practical it is as well. It's like you're really bridging the esoteric and the very practical in a really powerful way. So again, you can find the program laid out in detail at powersofintuition.com. I'll say a few other things about it. On the high level, it's 90-minute live class sessions with Wendy, which includes live interactive Q&A. These are on video, which really enhances the intimacy. You get video audio recordings of every class session, audio recordings, as well as PDF transcripts, which are word for word. You also have small group sessions. There's a Facebook community, and there's also a range of other great bonuses. First, there's one from Wendy called Clearing the Energy of Others from the Past and Present to Make Room for Your Divine Self. I think we can all use more of that to like clear out the old, declutter your energetic closet and make space for new possibilities and make room for your divine self to come in. Then there's also a session from Wendy's course on the next level of intuitive healing called Balancing Faith and Trust between the root and crown chakras. As you've heard in today's session, she's very focused on really having a balanced, integrated system, not just going up and out, but like from the root to the crown, and that the bonus delves into that. There's also a video interview with Stephanie Briggs called Are You an Empath? How to reclaim your center and stop absorbing the world around you. And I should mention, we also have an extra special bonus, which is available only until midnight tonight. That is called Strengthening Your Intuition by Clearing Out Noise. These are video and audio recordings from a 2019 Divine Healing Inner Circle. So I don't actually know what all that's about. So Wendy, you want to share a little bit about that special bonus that people get when they sign up by midnight tonight?
Yes. So this guided meditation is on how to clear out the noise in your energy body. So noise being your conditioning, fears, doubts, belief systems, energy of others, anything you might have absorbed that's influencing your monkey mind or your negative self-talk. And it's the opportunity to immerse in a deep guided experience. I connect to spirit guides and angels and facilitate a deep guided healing to release this energy in the body to allow your natural self, your spirit, to expand in your body, which then there supports your intuition. So it's a powerful guided deep healing, and it's amazing. It's wonderful.
Well, that's a fantastic extra bonus that people get when they sign up by midnight tonight. So again, you can find all the details over at powersofintuition.com, powersofintuition.com. And a few other things. The course starts on April 17th, and it's going to run on Wednesdays at noon Pacific. Again, that Wednesdays at noon Pacific. Even if you can't make the live time, you can still get the full value by participating with the downloads and the community. So I encourage you to go check it out at powersofintuition.com, because there's a lot of great value in this program. It really makes all of the work with intuition and empathy and sensitivity, it makes it so, it just clarifies so many issues and challenges, and really establishes a baseline of practices that can really turn this arena into an area of your greatest blessing and really your greatest superpower, rather than something that is problematic. So again, the program is called Expanding Your Powers of Intuition, Develop Your Gifts of Perception Through Your Chakras for Sensitives and Empaths. We've kept the price accessible. It's just 3 payments of $109, or you save 10% when you pay in full with $297. So you can get all the details at powersofintuition.com, and it starts soon. And you get the extra bonus, which Wendy described in a lot of detail there, on the Strengthening Your Intuition by Clearing Out Noise, when you sign up by midnight tonight. So what a great program. Wendy, fascinating insights today, and a great next step for people to take. Thank you so much for both. Anything else that still remains on your heart you want to share with folks who are considering joining you for the next 7-week journey?
It's just simply that I really look forward to supporting you, especially if you've identified as being an empath. This program takes you to another level and gives you practical tools on how to access these other aspects of intuition in your body. And I'm just so passionate about supporting healthy intuitives and grounded intuitives in the world. And I'm just thrilled to be able to guide you in this process. And I hope you join the program, and I hope to connect with you there.
Awesome. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you all, and look forward to seeing many of you in the Expanding Your Powers of Intuition program, which you can find again at powersofintuition.com. Many blessings.